Hello and welcome to the AMG Lounge. I'm G and this is the GLA250e, the latest PHEV from Mercedes-Benz. Now, a few weeks ago we looked at the GLA45S, which was the red hot 5-breathing version of this car, and this week we've decided to go for the other end of the spectrum, something a little bit more frugal, economical, and just generally a little bit more environmentally friendly. Now, it goes without saying that we live in a world where we're heavily dependent on electricity. All our stuff is pretty much plugged in. Phones, headphones, toothbrushes, kettles, all that stuff is plugged into electricity. So it shouldn't be that much of a difficult task for us to plug in our car, right? We thought so too. So a few weeks ago we done the A250e video where we just wanted to really review the car, but it was quickly hijacked by the fact that the charging infrastructure in the UK was quite the challenge. If you are planning on buying a plug-in hybrid or a fully electric vehicle, I do recommend you watch that video, as there are some pitfalls to watch out for. I'll leave a link to the A250e video at the end of this one, so make sure you stick around and watch that. You'll find it hugely useful. So in this video we're going to put all the infrastructure, all the charging facilities to one side, although we'll probably touch on it a little bit, but we're just going to talk about the car, all the technical stuff and what you can expect to achieve out the hybrid technology. So without further ado, let's get on the road. So under the bonnet we have a 1.3 litre 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine which develops 160 brake horsepower. Mated to that is the electric motor, which gives you a further 102, giving you a total combined power of 262 brake horsepower. Now, in the A-Class video I mentioned that you can't use them in conjunction. However, a few of you commented to say that in the sports mode you can, so I plan on putting that to the test right now for you. So here on our screen we should be able to go to settings, EQ, and then look at vehicle, engine. Now here we have a power output, so if I put it into sports, it should tell me how many brake horsepower I'm using. I tell you what, let's just drive it in comfort first and see how much power that gives us. 204, 209. It went all the way up to 209 in comfort. Let's okay, fine. Let's check on battery, electric. Sorry, let's check on electric alone. There we go. 102, bang on. That makes sense. Comfort didn't. I don't know where it got 209 brake horsepower. But anyway, plough on. Now let's try sports, the moment that you've all been waiting for. Foot down. 200, 217, 218. 218. 218 horsepower. It's a little bit shy of 262, so based on my personal experience, I can confirm you can't use all of 262 brake horsepower. Doesn't matter what mode you're in. The battery does give you 102 brake horsepower, but surprisingly, the engine gave me over 200. Interesting. There you go. Real world review, exclusive. Some of the driving modes includes individual, which lets you set your own parameters in terms of acceleration, steering, all that kind of stuff. And then you've got sports, which is pretty self-explanatory. We've tested that out. You've got comfort, which is your default setting, so anytime you get into the car it will just default to comfort. You've got fully electric, so useful for when you want to creep up on someone, you know, if you don't like your neighbour or something. Just like any electric car, it is very, very quiet. And of course there's battery level, which means that it will preserve all the energy inside the battery. So at the moment I'm just running on combustion engine alone. I can switch to a battery only mode, which I'll do that later on, just to see what combined miles per gallon we get. With this type of car there are a few ways that we can review it. If we look at the GLA in isolation, it's another platform off of the A-Class. It's got a higher driving position, it's a little bit more practical, a little bit more of a boxy design, available in 4MATIC. So, and it's powered by essentially a 1.3 litre engine, so it's not the type of car that's going to set your world alight. So it rides nicely, the steering's nice and light, there's minimal feedback in terms of letting all the nasty stuff coming through the steering wheel. It's comfortable, it's spacious enough, visibility is great, and just generally it rides and drives rather quite nicely. But as this is the plug-in hybrid version, there are a few ways that we could review this car. You could leave it alone and leave it on auto on all fronts to let it do what it does, switch between battery power and combustion engine, but that's not going to give us, well, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to find out, A, can you get the mileage from the battery that it's claiming you can, and also what we're going to achieve in terms of miles to the gallon. But of course if we leave it in just comfort, it will switch between battery and combustion engine, and we're not going to know what we're getting out of the battery, etc. It's just going to give us a combined performance score, which is okay because there are hundreds and thousands of ways that you can drive it. You can do 90% electric, 10% combustion, or vice versa, or you could do just town and electric and on the motorway switch the engine, or again do it vice versa. So in this test, what I plan to do, as we are fully charged and we've got enough fuel, is to basically drive the first 30 miles on combustion engine to see what MPG we're going to achieve, and then the next 30 miles do it purely on electric and see what that does to our MPG, but as well see if we're going to get anywhere around the 42-mile range that it's claiming that we can. When you're driving around without the music on, which is probably unusual, you're going to have your radio and music on, you can actually hear the car go from electric to combustion engine and vice versa, which shouldn't come as a shock to you, because see what I did there? Shock, electric. Anyway, 0 to 60 time comes up in 7.1 seconds, which is only 0.2 seconds slower than the range-topping GLA250, if we don't count the 35 and the 45S AMGs, which is quite respectable. We are 5 miles into our journey, and so far we've averaged 54.3 miles to the gallon. And the range is pretty much still sitting at 42 miles on electric. The GLA is available with 8 different colours to choose from for the exterior, and you have a choice of 3 different colours for the interior. And you also get 3 different equipment lines in the Exclusive Edition, Exclusive Edition Premium, Exclusive Edition Premium Plus. This particular one is the Exclusive Edition, and some of the standard equipment include heated seats, folding mirrors, reversing camera, dual zone climate control, Bluetooth, MBUX with Hey Mercedes, parking sensors. You've got wireless charging, LED high performance headlamps, easy pack tailgate, and leather seats. Pretty generous considering this is the entry level car. However, if you do have a little bit of extra money to spend, you can go for the Premium or the Premium Plus package, where you can have things like the glass panoramic sunroof, electric seats, 64 color ambient lighting, keyless entry, and the larger screen in front of the driver as well. With the seats in its natural position at the back, the boot space is about 45 litres, smaller than the standard combustion engine vehicle, which I guess is to be expected. Obviously you've got to make room for the batteries and move the fuel tank around, so that's to be expected. But more importantly, it doesn't interfere with the cabin space, so the driver, the passengers at the front or the rear, they wouldn't know any different. The interior is a very nice place to be. It's very comfortable. You have a very high driving position, so visibility is great, and as you know, the interior is taken directly from the A-Class, which was the best-selling compact car in October, I'll have you know, and for good reason too. Great bit of kit. Refinement's good, everything feels solid, the materials are nice. In the exclusive edition, as I mentioned, you get leather seats, and you get leather upholstery up by the shoulder of the door here, the door card, and even up here the stitching's nice. And the steering wheel is the same steering wheel that you get in the C-Class, the E-Class, the S-Class, so that's really high end as well. And the touchpad, the new touchpad works a lot better than the previous one, I must admit. But of course you've got, hey Mercedes, you've got touchscreen, you've got the touch pads on the steering wheel, and you've got the touchpad down here. So there are like 4 different ways you can navigate through your various different menus. Even though I'm in battery level mode, which is preserving all the juice in the battery, when you come to a complete standstill and you lift off, it still accelerates in electric first, up till about 5-10 mile an hour, and then the combustion engine kicks in. Now that's quite handy because nothing kills your consumption like constant start-stop. So we've just gone over 15 miles on our journey, and I'm averaging 44.8 miles to the gallon. We're trying to combine a bit of sort of town driving and a bit of motorway driving to kind of give you the realest possible world conditions and see what sort of performance we get. This vehicle has been supplied to us by Virtue Mercedes-Benz in Aylesbury, so if you have any questions about the model that you see here in this video, I'll leave the details in the comment section down below. I think the likes of the A250e, the GLA250e and the CLA250e are a good ground to start your journey into sort of electric or plug-in hybrid vehicles, because undeniably it's going electric, whether it's full electric or plug-in hybrid, it doesn't matter, but it will give you a good base, good understanding in terms of what you can expect from these cars, but at the same time take away the range anxiety that you're going to get from it naturally until you learn to live with it, how it works, how it operates and how to charge it. You always have the combustion engine to fall back on. And once you feel like you've conquered the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle and you want to go into fully electric driving, then you're going to be a little bit more prepared. It will be less daunting, if you will. We're at 29 miles, so once we get to 30 miles driven, I'm going to flip to electric and see if we're going to get anywhere near around the claim figure, and also what that means in terms of our combined miles to the gallon. Just like the A-Class, this can recuperate energy as well by using the radar located at the front of the car. It can read the traffic in front, and right now I've taken my foot off the accelerator. The traffic in front of me is slowing down, and I am too, and what that's doing is just putting the energy back into the battery. One of my all-time favourite things about having an electric hybrid vehicle is the pre-entry climate control. So through the Mercedes Me app, not only can you track your car, see how much charge you've got, see what sort of fuel you've got, lock and unlock the doors, close, open your windows, you can also preheat or pre-cool your vehicle. So if you know you get into your car 7:30 every morning and you know it's going to be freezing, you can preheat it, so when you get in there's a nice toasty seat waiting for you. You don't have to worry about de-icing your windows, don't have to worry about cold leather seats. It'll all be nice and toasty, ready for you to take you to work. And the good thing is it can do all that while it's on charge, so you don't use any of the electricity heating yourself during your actual journey. So when you get in the car, not only is it heated, but you've still got 100% of your battery charge as well. Love that. We've just hit 30 miles, so I'm going to flick it to electric. And here we go. So we finished off the MPG at 45.6 miles to the gallon, and what should start happening now is that it should slowly start to creep up, 46.3. So we're going to do 30 miles like this and see where we end up. Now, according to some stats somewhere, the average commute for anyone living in London is less than 20 miles. Now, this car and the A and the CLA can do a claimed range, fully electric range of about 40 miles. So this should cover the average person's commute to and from work. So if you are sort of up to about 20 miles from your work, then something like this can be hugely beneficial from a tax point of view if you're a company car user, but in terms of running costs as well. Hey Mercedes, how much range do I have?
Total range 210 miles. Electrical range 38 miles.
So far we've done 4 miles on fully electric, and the range has fallen by that exact amount, and our MPG has gone up to 52.3 miles to the gallon.
He's won.
Biden?
Yeah.
No way. Ha! There you go. You were a part of history. Trump has lost the American election. Good news for the world. But just a quick progress update for you guys. We're at 44 mile point. So we've done 14 miles on fully electric. We are at 67.3 miles to the gallon. So we've seen an increase of about 20 mpg. We've dropped down to 24 mile range. So that would equal to about 38 overall. I imagine we lost circa 4 miles because of aircon, start-stop, and various other external factors. What's worth knowing as well, that these cars don't self-charge. But once you're out of juice, that's it in the battery. Once it's gone until you plug it back in somewhere where you can recharge. Which is a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. It's worth knowing, obviously, if you are planning on buying one. So there you have it, guys. We've averaged 88.3 miles to the gallon combined on our 60-mile cycle. We've done 30 miles in combustion engine alone, and we've got 30 miles under our belts in purely electric with 2 miles to spare, which would give us a total of 32 mile range, which is about 10, well, not about, it's 10 miles short than what it claimed we had, which I'm not entirely surprised about, because obviously we've gone uphill, we've gone downhill, we've gone over speed bumps, we stopped, we started, we stopped, we started, so naturally it's not going to give us the full range. Now 10 miles on a 42 mile range is higher than I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting 42 miles in the first place. So the brochure says that it has a 37 mile range. Getting 32 miles out of a claimed 37 would make more sense, because that's roughly a, what's that, 10% drop in range. And when you take into consideration the aircon, the driving, all that kind of stuff, it's quite normal that you can, that's acceptable. That's, I think, within tolerance. Now the MPG 88.3 is very, very impressive. I don't actually know what the brochure is claiming, but there are so many variances, so it'd be impossible to give you an exact science to that. As I mentioned earlier, you can drive 95% of the time in electric and only switch to petrol for the last 5% of your journey, or vice versa. And all these different combinations of driving will give you a different miles to the gallon. But near as makes no difference. 90 miles to the gallon for me is quite impressive. I think what you need to do, I think what these cars require is a small adaptation, small adjustment to your everyday routine. We always remember to plug our phones, our toothbrushes, our headphones, our watches into charge every night before we go to bed, because we know we're going to need them the following day. And it's no different with a car. If you have a driveway, if you have a garage, if you have some sort of charging facilities, you just need to remember to plug it in to maximize the potential of these cars. And it shouldn't take you more than, you know, a few days or maybe a week or two, just to kind of understand how it works, how the infrastructure works. You know, once you've signed up to the 300 different electric charge suppliers and you have a membership to them, you know where your local ones are, you know when they're available. The good thing about the apps is that when they do work, they are brilliant. They show you exactly where your nearest charge point is and whether they're available. So as long as you know that your journey is the same every day and you've worked it out, you've planned it, you know how far you are, etc. You know, you can really, as I say, you can really maximize the potential on this car. You may never even need the combustion engine and use it fully in electric to save yourself a few quid. But for those instances where you've got an unplanned journey, or you need to, you know, go up and down the country somewhere to see family, friends, work trip, whatever, then you can always fall back on the combustion engine, which is good. It's what you want. And run out of charge. So there you have it, friends. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the bell icon, and we'll see you in the next one.